Hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome in. Hopefully, y'all are doing well. We are here to talk about a little golf, a little NFL. Obviously, we have the Super Bowl teams finalized as well. So lots to talk about. If you guys have questions on anything, go ahead and drop those in. I don't really know where to start on the NFL side of things. Like, do we start with the Steelers and Mike McCarthy? Do we start with the Bills and Joe Brady? Do we start with the Browns? I mean, these teams are completely out of control. This has to be the worst cycle of coaches getting hired that I can remember. I think since I've started doing content, which we're 10 years in at this point, I can't remember a year where almost every single hire is just terrible and makes zero sense. I don't understand what these teams are doing. The owners are just out of control lately. I mean, it is just chaos. How you make it out with the snow? Yeah, the snow was crazy. Hopefully you guys stayed safe. I think we ended up getting 15 inches here, which is that's a lot for where I'm at. I mean, we get cold and snow every year in Ohio, but that was an excessive amount of snow. And it's so cold, the snow is not going anywhere. So it was really difficult to kind of dig out of my driveway. Shout out to my uncle. He's definitely not watching, but he has a plow on his truck, so he assisted quite a bit. So shout out to him for that. But yeah, it was crazy, and it's just freezing cold now. So the snow is not going anywhere. There's no chance of it melting anytime soon. All right. So I guess I don't know if we want to start with the coaches or the Super Bowl. As far as first reaction to the Super Bowl, I made a first reaction TikTok on Sunday night. The line opened at Seattle -3.5. It very quickly got bet to 4.5, and it's held pretty firm at 4.5, which I'm pretty surprised about. I thought this was going to get up to 5.5, and then it would come back down to 4.5. That was my prediction when I made the video. But it is not. We have not seen any fives yet. It's held firm at 4.5. The public is very much on Seattle. 67% of the bets placed at FanDuel currently have been on Seattle. 73% of the money. I saw ESPN did a poll today with a lot of their NFL analysts about who would win the Super Bowl, and every single, I think there was 20 of them that they asked. All 20 said Seattle, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if there was a single person that said the Patriots were going to win on that ESPN poll. So the public is very, very sided towards Seattle. I'm pretty surprised we haven't seen that 5.5 pop yet. But look, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't really plan on betting a side of the game at the moment. I know that kind of feels sacrilegious considering it's the Super Bowl, but not really planning to bet a side as it currently stands. We'll have some touchdown bets and some props. I've only taken one bet thus far for Super Bowl, and it was a MVP bet. I don't know if any of you can guess it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to dive into the prop stuff later this week and then this weekend. And I'll have a couple different articles coming out. I had my golf first PGA article of the year came out yesterday. So we'll have those weekly kind of moving forward at rollinginsights.com for free on the blog, kind of preview some of my favorite golfers for the tournament each week. I'm going to have a Super Bowl trends article coming out, a props article, the typical kind of game preview as well. So lots of content coming for the Super Bowl. I also want to bet my favorite bet ever for the Super Bowl, if you guys can remember what that is. I haven't seen it posted yet. Let me check DraftKings. DraftKings had it last year, and it did hit last year. I put a really big bet on it the last 2 years. It did not hit 2 years ago. It did hit last year. So let me see Some of you guys might remember what it is. Game specials. Let me see. Um, Game props, potentially. Touchdown props. Yeah, it's a minus 130 bet. So it is the shortest touchdown under 1.5 yards. So basically betting on a 1 yard touchdown. It's minus 130. I actually think it was like minus 150 last year because the Eagles were playing. So we're getting better odds. I'll go back through and I'm gonna make a TikTok about it. So I'll go back through and check the numbers, but I'm pretty sure that's hit in like 10 of the last 14 or 15 years. It's something crazy. Like it hits way more often than you would think, the 1 yard touchdown. So I'm definitely going to put a big bet on that. That's like my favorite kind of sweat. And then, like, we'll have some other props too. I always like to bet on the octopus, for fun. But yeah, so I'll dive in. We'll have a Super Bowl trends article. I don't have time on the stream here to go through that 1 yard touchdown thing, but you guys can do your own research also if you just go back and look at the previous games. But I'll do it maybe, and I'll make a TikTok maybe tonight about it. But yeah, if you're in the chat, what's your guys' thoughts? Do you guys have a pick for the game? Do you have like a prop or something that you like kind of first look here? I'm happy the Rams didn't get in, honestly, because the touchdowns on the Rams are just so poorly priced. It's just not fun. So at least with Seattle and New England, you have Kenny Walker at minus 190, JSN at minus 110. Everybody else, like, I can stomach kind of betting on. So, also shout out. I don't know who this guy is on Twitter. I don't know if he watches the streams, but after our stream on Sunday, when I was talking about Drake May and Cooper Kupp, he put a $600 whale bet in on Drake May and Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown parlay. I think it paid 10K and it won. So shout out to that guy. I would not advocate for betting that recklessly on my touchdown picks, but I mean, 10K winner is pretty crazy. Trying to look at just quickly at the touchdown props right now to see what sticks out. I mean, Diggs at plus 240, definitely a little interesting. Rashid Shaheed, I like. So just full transparency, the one bet I've taken so far this Super Bowl is Rashid Shaheed MVP. Do I think he's going to win Super Bowl MVP? No, not particularly. But I do think there's good value on him at 50-1. He has paths to I feel like with the extra week off, that's the type of guy that really benefits because they can like really get in their bag and scheme some stuff up for him. I know for a fact they have plays for him that they have not used yet. And you also get the extra week. So I like that. There's ways for him to get the ball receiving. There's ways to get him the ball rushing. There's ways for him to get the ball kick returns. So, like I said, if Seattle wins, Darnold, Kenny Walker, JSN, those are the most likely MVP candidates should the Seahawks win. But there's also the chance that, maybe the Seahawks win 22, 24-17 or something. Rashid Shaheed has a kick return touchdown and a long touchdown on offense too. Like there's paths for him to score multiple touchdowns in the game. So that's why I thought 50-1 is pretty good value, but that's a small bet. I don't think he's going to win MVP, but I'm willing to take the chance. If you had to pick someone besides JSN to lead in yards, let me see if I can find the odds on that, at least to just look. Game specials. Guru, what book is that on? Like, are you looking on a specific book for that, just so I can check the odds? I would say, man, that's tough. I think, like, an outside shot at a bet like that could be obviously Kayshon Boutte, who's, like, the deep threat for New England, but I wish, like, they were using Trevion Henderson more because that's somebody I'd like to attack in that market because he's live for a long touchdown run. He's live for a long touchdown reception. So we saw when Ohio State played and won the national championship against Notre Dame, Trevion Henderson had a long touchdown reception in that game. Obviously, way different situation, but just for what it's worth, they have just really iced him. I mean, they have been riding Ramondre Stevenson super heavy. We had Stevenson over 49.5 rush yards on Sunday that cashed pretty easily. And Trevion Henderson did not see the field very much. So I wish that they were kind of using him a little bit more because he can pop a long one on just a low number of touches, but I really don't trust him to get the ball. I'm wondering if they put a wrinkle in for him. He's just so explosive when he gets the ball in his hands. Like, I'm wondering if they put a wrinkle in for him with that extra week off too. Like maybe he gets the ball a little bit more. So I don't know what the odds are on that in that market, but yeah, definitely think JSN is the big leader in the clubhouse though. But yeah, so we'll talk more Super Bowl tomorrow with Steve, assuming he comes on the stream. I'm pretty sure he is. So we'll talk more Super Bowl tomorrow, Friday, and then throughout next week, leading up to the game. I see game specials. I don't see that one though. Each team to score 1+ rushing touchdown and 1+ passing touchdown in each half is 100-1. I mean, I don't think this is gonna be a high scoring game, but at the same time, 100-1. Like, I wouldn't mind kind of maybe taking a little stab on that just for some fun. Definitely we'll play some Super Bowl squares too. We could talk about that next week. I don't see yards leaders. I see exact. Maybe it's under this. Let me check. What's under? Okay, no, it's not under that. I see drives. I see. I see most receiving yards. I don't see most total yards though. Most receiving yards, Jason's -185. Diggs 8-1. Like Boutte at 12-1 is probably the only other guy I would consider there. Or Shaheed, because you just have the out of like Shaheed catches like an 80-yard touchdown and just gets way ahead. But at the same time, he could catch an 80-yard touchdown and it's his only catch of the game. So, yeah, like that's probably the extent of my interest there. Rushing yards. I mean, Trey is 22-1. I don't know. Nothing like crazy sticks out there. All right. As far as like, DeJuan playing some PGA. Yeah, I cashed pretty nice with my golf team last week. Let me see what I scored on DraftKings. I haven't played any FanDuel though. Sticking to DK only for PGA right now. But let me see what I scored. Oh, also, if you guys tailed the lineup I made on stream on Sunday, the NFL lineup, that cashed also in the single entry I played. We cashed the Darnold team. It was Darnold, Stevenson, Harvey, Nakua, JSN, Cup, Hunter Henry, Parkinson, and the Patriots defense. 154.94. Let me see my golf team though. My golf team did really well. I played this contest. I came in 90th out of 1,400 people, so it was way above a min cash. Scored 645 points. I had Russell Henley, Harry Hall, Jason Day, Pearson Cootie, Bezadenhout, and Gracerman. All of them made the cut and did really well. Henley T10. Jason Day came in tied for second. What do you think Pats will do with Campbell? Yeah, I don't know, bro. I honestly could see him switching. Like they can move him to guard. Is probably definitely on the table. He looked really bad in that last game. I know he struggled off and on throughout the whole season, but he looked really bad against Denver. I definitely could see them moving him to guard, or at least entertaining that. Yeah, DK only for me as well, the one with the PGA, but I'm pretty excited for that. As far as like the coaching stuff, like I mean, I kind of talked about it at the start. Just terrible. I don't understand these teams. Mike McCarthy, I thought was going to be the worst hire of this coaching cycle, and then the Bills and the Browns are just like one upping them. Um, so from a Steelers perspective, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like the Steelers, I made a TikTok about this. It actually kind of did really well on TikTok. The Steelers have not won a playoff game in a decade. They don't have a quarterback on the roster next year. You know, they have Will Howard, but you've never seen Will Howard play. So you don't really have a quarterback that you feel comfortable with next year. Haven't won a playoff game in a decade. They've been stuck in this perpetual, kind of unknown post Ben Roethlisberger. And even the last few years of Ben Roethlisberger, like they really didn't have a chance to win anything at that point. Post AB and Le'Veon Bell, really, like that was the last time they had a real crack at anything. They started hot that one year with Ben, one of his last years, and it was fool's gold like it typically is with these current Steelers teams. So it just makes no sense to hire the ultimate retread of Mike McCarthy. Like, yeah, it's a feel-good story. He grew up rooting for the Steelers. He's always wanted to coach them. What does that do for me? Like, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to rebuild. We have never seen them rebuild. They need to rebuild for the first time in a long time. And hiring Mike McCarthy, it does nothing for that, because Adam Schefter can report all he wants that they did not hire Mike McCarthy to lure Aaron Rodgers back. Nobody honestly believes that. It makes no sense. And we know that the Steelers want Aaron Rodgers back. It makes no sense to hire Mike McCarthy unless you're just trying to get Aaron Rodgers back for one more season. And they can bring Aaron Rodgers back next season. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. It would take unforeseen circumstances for the Pittsburgh Steelers with Aaron Rodgers to win the Super Bowl next year. It's just not going to happen. So why are we delaying the inevitable rebuild another year? And like, how long is Mike McCarthy going to coach there? You can't convince me he's coaching there longer than 2 or 3 years. Like, they're just delaying the inevitable. And I feel bad for their fans, because their fans have been stuck in this just perpetual mediocrity for the last 9 to 10 years. And they're just doing it again next season. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I thought that was going to be the worst hire, but oh boy, the Buffalo Bills, this owner, I mean, I went on a rant about that owner when he gave that press conference, talking about Keon Coleman for no apparent reason. They fired Sean McDermott, and then everybody else gets a promotion. How does that make sense? How does that make any sense? They say we lost on a bad call. They say they lost. They say that they fired McDermott because they hit a playoff wall. If you're firing your staff because you hit a playoff wall, why is everybody else getting promoted? That doesn't make any sense. Brandon Beane has not been a good general manager, deserving of a promotion. Joe Brady, if you like him as an OC, okay. So you're going to run the exact same system offensively that you did last year that got you a loss in the divisional round. You're going to run that back exactly the same, but now you have a total and utter wild card at head coach when it comes to game management. Joe Brady could be better than Sean McDermott. He could be worse. We have no idea. But it doesn't make any sense to fire Sean McDermott and promote his offensive coordinator. It makes no sense to me. So I don't understand what the Buffalo Bills are doing. I thought that was a terrible move on their part. I've said this from the start. It was too little too late to fire Sean McDermott now. They might as well have just kept him. But to fire him and promote his OC is horrible. And then the Cleveland Browns are the worst of them all. I mean, I'm willing. So I had the biggest bet I've ever taken in my life, dollar amount, on the Cleveland Browns under 5.5 wins this year. They did finish with 5. That cashed. I mean, I'm ready to run that back right now. This Cleveland Browns team, the ultimate dumpster fire. They are a disaster. Jimmy Haslam refuses to learn from his mistakes. He's done this time and time again. He can't keep his hands off of the operation. Why the Cleveland Browns have no quarterback on their team? None. They have no chance. It doesn't matter how good their defense is. It doesn't matter. They have no chance of winning anything next year because of their quarterback situation. They need to rebuild. They need to start rebuilding. Their offensive line, horrible. Their playmakers on offense, horrible. Quarterback, terrible. They have nothing on offense. They're set up to rebuild. They have 2 first-round picks this year. They're going to be bad this year. They're going to get another high pick next year. Now is the time to bring in a young, like up-and-coming coach that you think can be good and let him grow with this team. And if the veterans on defense don't like that, then I don't know what to tell you, because you're not those players know there's no way they're competing with this offense next year. There's just no way. Why are you hiring a 60-year-old first-time head coach? This is Jimmy Haslam. And then why fire Stefanski at that point? You know, it's very clear Jimmy Haslam just wanted to keep Jim Schwartz. He was forcing Jim Schwartz onto all of these younger head coaches that they were interviewing, potential head coaches, and they're going to lose him anyways. He doesn't. It sounds like he's done with the Browns. Like, he's under contract, but does not want to coach for them next year. So, like, what was the point of hiring Todd Monken if you're going to lose Jim Schwartz anyways? If you're going to lose Jim Schwartz, which I don't understand the thing of getting caught up like Jim Schwartz has to be on the team. Like, anybody can coach Myles Garrett and those guys and get something out of them. Like, the Browns have a good defensive roster. Like, you're not going to convince me that it's this big, like Jim Schwartz is the mastermind there. I don't understand that, but you lost him anyway. So why are you hiring, as a team that needs to rebuild, why are you hiring a 60-year-old first-time head coach? It does not make sense. These teams are terrible. The Browns are the worst. They have to be the worst run organization in the National Football League. I'm sorry. They have to be. The Raiders are bad. The Jets are a dumpster fire. The Browns take the cake, man. And I have witnessed this firsthand growing up in Northeast Ohio. I am happy today to say that I do not root for that team. I am so glad I'm not a diehard Browns fan, because that team is embarrassing. I feel bad for their fans. They have a passionate fan base, and I don't understand why, to be honest with you. Why do people spend their money and like go to Browns games? It's crazy. Absolutely insane. So yeah, I don't know what's up with these teams, but a bunch of these hires were absolutely terrible. Tua, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just don't get it, man. I really don't. But we'll talk more about it probably tomorrow when Steve comes on. We can run through these golf picks. I don't want to get too fired up, but the ineptitude of some of these teams, and I'm not sitting here saying I could run an NFL team, but from the outside looking in, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. The Cleveland Browns and their owner, they've done the same thing over and over and over again. That was one of the worst run head coaching searches I've ever seen. All right. So as far as golf goes, this is one of my favorite tournaments of the year. Farmers Insurance Open, Torrey Pines. I've played a couple courses. I'm lucky enough in my lifetime to play a couple courses that they hold PGA events at. Torrey Pines is number one on my list of I would love to play at Torrey Pines. Just the ambiance of Torrey Pines is amazing. Love watching it on TV. It's hard, which I like. I like watching the harder courses for these guys as opposed to the birdie fests. So I love this tournament. If you are unfamiliar, how this tournament works is they will play one round on the North course, one round on the South course, and then they will play the South course on the weekend, which is the more challenging of the two. Basically, you know, it's very, very long. So you're looking for guys that can hit the ball far. good club head speed. The rough is pretty thick, so it is challenging in that regard. It was pretty windy conditions last year, if I remember right, but Harris English won at -8. There's been a couple recent winners, around that -10, -11. Like, it is a challenging golf course for these guys. So you're looking for guys that are long off the tee. You have a lot of long shots in as well. So if you're looking at strokes gained approach, you kind of want to look at that, 170 to 200 plus range. You got to putt specifically on POA. So, POA greens can be a little bit challenging to putt on. That's what is on the South course. So if we're looking for that. And then I like to look at bogey avoidance as well because it's a challenging course. So as long as you're kind of putting along, you can stay in the mix. But if you're bogeying and making those big numbers, that's when you play yourself out of the tournament early on. So I'm really excited to watch this tournament. And it's a pretty good field as well. So if you saw my card that I posted earlier or the article that I wrote, I do like Cam Young this week. A lot of people are expecting a big season out of Cam Young, myself included. Basically a perfect fit for this course. Very long off the tee. And he doesn't have good results previously at this tournament. But we also have not seen like this version of Cam Young at this tournament either. Cam Young played really good down the stretch of last season, played well in the Ryder Cup. Like I said, he's long off the tee. He's also, if you look at the last year of golf events, one of the best putters on tour. So it's a really, really good combo of long off the tee, good putting. If his putter is hot, definitely think he has a really, really good chance of competing at this tournament. So I did take him for kind of my guy at the top. I also took Hideki Matsuyama, someone I like to back early in the season. If you guys remember, we took him early on a couple times last year. He won early on in Hawaii last year, I think, as well. I think last year he won the first event of the year and the last event of the year. So pretty funny there. But he likes to play well early on in the season. He has very, very good history at this tournament. He's made the cut in 9 straight Farmers Insurance Opens that he's played. Comps very well at hard courses, comps very well at driver-heavy courses. Hideki, it really just comes down to how he putts is kind of what's going to dictate his week. The short game can definitely, specifically the putter, leave him at points. But I like him a lot here. Feel pretty safe. I'm probably going to use him for my one and done contest as well. So I did take Hideki Matsuyama. There's some other guys in this range that you could talk into. Obviously, Ludwig, who I love, arguably my favorite golfer right now. He did not win this tournament last year, but they also played the Genesis at this tournament, at this course last year. He won that. So the last time the tour played at Torrey Pines, he did win. Really good comp for the course as well. Just I'm a little bit worried about him being sick since he withdrew last week with an illness. Kind of an unknown there. I haven't watched any of his like press conference or anything, so I don't know how he's feeling. But I can understand people, looking at him. Spawn, I can understand too. Comps pretty well. Goddard, who I like a lot, really long off the tee. Definitely could see him having success here. Jason Day has a very good track record both in California and at this tournament. He's won this tournament twice in the past. So I understand people looking at him. We had him last week outright. He finished T2 and cashed that top 5 for us. Harris English won this event last year. Gerard, we had him top 5 last week as well. He finished T2. Jake Knapp and Taylor Pendrith both comp very well for this course as well. But my favorite guys at the top, Cam Young and Hideki Matsuyama. I also like Max Homa. Really, really bad year last year. I'm expecting a bounce back for him. He's back with his old swing coach. The swing itself, eye test, looks a lot better. He's coming off a pretty good result last week. Good course history here. Top 20 in 4 of his last 6 times playing it. That also includes a win in 2023. He's a California boy. He plays well in California historically. Feel like, this number could definitely be a little bit lower. We're getting some good value on him because of how poorly he played last year. So I'd like to be ahead of the bounce back for him if it's going to come. So I did take Max Homa. I also took Nikolai Højgaard. So this is Sam was on him a lot. He comps pretty well in the numbers I looked at. Very long off the tee, so fits well. I don't love him, but I know Sam likes him, and he comps well for me, so I ended up taking him at 55-1. And then Johnny Kiefer at 100-1 with 8 places I took as well. Young up-and-coming kid, set the single-season scoring average record last year on the Korn Ferry Tour, has only played a handful of PGA Tour events, but still is like top 55 in the official world golf rankings. I'm expecting him to break out this season, and I'm expecting him to get himself in the mix for a few tournaments this year. I'd like to be ahead on that as well. Like if he could come out and compete at this tournament, and you're probably not going to get like 100 or 110-1 on him in a field like this anymore. We kind of saw that with Luke Clanton. Like he really was on fire as an amateur. And then by the time we got towards like the middle to end of summer, like Luke Clanton was getting priced at like 30 and 40-1 for these tournaments. I could see that happening with Kiefer. If he gets himself up in one of these tournaments, I could see that happening with this price. So I'd rather be ahead on him, and he comps well for this course for me also. Good luck if you're betting on the golf this week. I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. with Steve. It'll be like a long hour-long stream. I'm not sure what we'll dive into, but we always have some stuff to talk about with Steve. If you're betting on basketball tonight or anything along those lines, good luck. I want to go through the NBA and kind of give my thoughts on some stuff and get back into the betting streets there. So we'll try and do that next week at some point. But good luck tonight if you're playing any DFS or betting, and I will see everybody tomorrow at 4 o'clock.